Hi everybody, this is Gigi here, nurse practitioner. I think Sam asked me a question recently, how what's the role of the nurse practitioner in acute care? And I'm here today to give you a little bit of synopsis of what my day is like in a typical day in the ICU. First of all, how's everybody doing? I hope everybody has had a great weekend. I was out of town with my family. We had a wonderful weekend with some families up north. Everything went well. I'm back in town. I'm still at the office. It's now I think 9:30 at night, but I'm still in the office right now because I have to renew my ACLS, BLS, and PALS instructor licenses. So I've been working on that all day. So tomorrow I'll be in class all day, taking exams and renewing my licenses. All right. How does a typical day in the ICU goes? And first of all, what is the role of the nurse practitioner in ICU? The role of the nurse practitioner in ICU is pretty much as an intensivist, I would say. So what you do when you come in, you do your assessment, you assess your patient, and then after your assessment, you get your differential diagnosis going on. You find out, for example, the patient was short of breath. Okay, why is the patient short of breath? Did they have a PE? Do they have a pneumothorax? Do they have COPD exacerbation? Do they have CHF exacerbation? There are multiple reasons why this patient can have shortness of breath. And you do an evaluation and assessment. Once you figure out the problem, you look at your x-rays, you look at your labs, you look at your numbers, what is the oxygen saturation, you look at the ABGs, and then you can conclude your diagnosis, exactly what is going on with that patient. I'm in the office and the music is kind of loud. Maybe I can close this door. Hang on. And see if that, I think that helped a little bit with the music from the office. Okay. Now, once you find out what the patient problem is, you have to come up with a plan. What is the plan for this patient? So you formulate your plan and then you put it into action, you intervene. After your intervention, so you're pretty much gonna, put your orders in the computer and you discuss your plan with your nurses and tell them what you want to do for this patient. And then, of course, they're gonna come back and report to you, is your intervention working or not? And you always evaluating and re-evaluating in an on ongoing basis to find out what's going on for this patient. This is pretty much your big plan, or your role, I should say. The next thing now, how does my day typically goes? My day, I'm supposed to work from 7 p.m. to 7 to 7:30, but then by the time I give report in the morning, I don't get out till 8:30. And on a typical night, almost every night we have two nurse practitioners working, so we split the assignment in half. So we both get report, and after we get report, that usually takes between 7 to maybe 8 or 8:15, depending on the complexity of the patients for that day. And if the day shift had some setback, we started report late or whatnot, minor stuff. So but it typically lasts like an hour. So after I get report, so between 8:15, 8:30 to 10, depending on how many patients I have, I make rounds, right? I go from room to room to room to room and assess all my patients. What am I looking for when I go in the room? First of all, I talk to my nurses. I love my nurses. I love my nurses. Your nurses is what gonna carry you through. You have to respect your nurses. And don't forget, nurse practitioners, you were at the bedside at one time. Because you're a nurse practitioner now, don't forget that you were a bedside nurse before you became a nurse practitioner. So keep that in mind always. I love my nurses. I'm never going to quit saying that I love my nurses. But anyway, so I go into the room, talk to my nurses, and then I do my assessment. I eyeball my patient. What does that mean? I go in, I look at my ventilator settings, what I get from report actually matching what the patient is actually on. I'll tell you exactly what I look at in another video as far as details, but I look at the vet, I look at my hemodynamics. Most of my patients usually have swans and, the cardiac output, cardiac index. I look at my vital signs, right? I look at to see if my patient have chest tube, do we have air leaks, blah, blah, blah. I look at my patients Foley. Are they getting nutrition? Are they moving all extremities? Are they responding? Are they on any sedation? What IV drips are they on? And if they're on pressors, how much pressors are they on? And can I get them off pressors? I'll talk about that in another video as well. So, but those are the things I look for. And I physically take my patient's covers off and I look at my patient. Do they have a sternotomy? Do they have ruin? What does it look like? Or can I see it? Or do they have pulses? If they have some kind of neurological issues going on, do they have pupil reactions? Those are things that you do. Those are the things we used to do as a bedside nurse. So I still kind of, maybe not in details as I used to do if I was at a bedside nurse, not as detailed, but I still do it. So by that time, maybe it's 10 o'clock. I order labs, and the nurses usually have questions for you, or they have stuff. You have to replace electrolytes, and I recheck everybody's ABG. The patient that are on the ventilator, I don't wait till 2 a.m. for my morning labs to check your ABGs, depending how critical you are. So I would go around, look at all my labs, and then look at all my ABGs. Do I need to make vent changes? It's an ongoing situation. So if I have to make vent changes, I do. And then by midnight, what I do, a little bit before midnight, when I'm at the computer, I make sure my patients have blood work for the morning. So I order blood work if they're not ordered, your regular Chem7, your CBC, CMP, actually not a Chem7 or CMP, because you want to see your liver function in there, your coags you order, and stuff like that. You order your labs, and then make sure every patient have a chest x-ray, especially all your patient on a ventilator has to have a chest x-ray. Your patient has an ABG for the morning. If you need like a follow-up KUB, you make sure all those things are ordered. Okay. It's now midnight. Midnight, what do? I get up and literally walk around every patient's room again, from room to room to room. Midnight, 1 o'clock or whatnot. I make rounds and see what's going on, and we evaluate every patient. So between midnight and 2 o'clock, I would come back to the computer. If I ordered labs from before, I would review those labs. Then I start to read notes. I read the other providers' notes. Don't forget, those patients are very complex patients, so they have multidisciplinary teams on them. So I would look at my nephrologist's note, my pulmonary physician note, my cardiologist's note, different stuff, my neurologist's notes and stuff like that. So I would look at all those different notes and see what are those people's perspective on this patient's recovery? What are we doing? And recommendations. If they recommend something that I can order, I will just order it. Sometimes I need to run the recommendations through the team meaning those cardiothoracic surgeons and my attending. I'm not going to call them at 1 o'clock to review some recommendation unless it's something crucial the patient really needed now. But if it's something that can wait, in the morning, I would review everything with them in the morning. Break, when do I take a break? Whenever I can. Usually we try to do between 10 and 10:30 or 10:11, whatever we eat, but it all depends. So sometimes, depending on what's going on, your break can be later, and sometimes there's no breaks. And then by 3, 4, I start writing all my labs down that are coming back. I review all my x-rays. I replace my electrolytes. I look at my chest x-rays actually to make sure there's no pneumothorax, or they have worsening pleural effusions, or do they need Lasix, or do they need more Lasix, or do they need to be put on respiratory treatments? And also then I start looking at all my microbiology to make sure, are they growing any bacteria, any organisms growing? Are they on antibiotics? Do I need to put them on antibiotics? So we do that as well. So if they have, some gram-negative rods growing in the blood cultures, maybe they need to be on some cefepime or some gram-positive something, you can put them on Venco. If you're not sure, we have pharmacy, and we have also an antibiogram that we have at my facility. We can follow that. But if you don't know, you call pharmacy and say, listen, this patient is growing gram-positive rods or gram-negative cocci. What do you recommend? If it's a dialysis patient, there's different dosings that you do. If the patient on CVVH, continuous dialysis, there's different dosing because you want to protect the kidneys. If it's a liver patient, there's different dosing. So if you don't know, it's okay. You call pharmacy. We're a team. Don't forget teamwork. We call pharmacy. You ask your next NP who's been an NP longer than you, who's working in a unit with you, who knows more. So you ask that NP as well. And between 5 and 6, I kind of eyeball everybody again. If they're getting CVVH, make sure I look at the actual rate to see what's going on. Are they positive fluids or negative fluids? Or do I need to give them blood? Do I need to give them more Lasix? Those type of things. And then sometimes, depending on which attending is working, sometimes we have to call the attending at night, before 11, and we kind of run all the patients through with the attending, which is awesome as well. And then if you have any issues, sometimes I have to call the surgeon in the middle of the night, and sometimes I have to call my attending in the middle of the night. It all depends what's going on with the patient. So, which is why it's important to have very good rapport with your nurses. Have extremely good rapport with your nurses. You have to love your nurses. I'm never going to stop saying it. They're the ones that are at the bedside. Okay, they're the ones that are with the patient, that see the changes. They're the one that's going to save you, because they're going to notify you and let you know, something's going on with that patient. Maybe you can give a shot of Lasix before they crap out on you, or maybe they need 1 unit of blood, or maybe they need some albumin, or maybe they need this or that. But if you're not, you need to love your nurses, pretty much. So anyway, this is usually how my night goes. And I don't know, what am I forgetting? And then, by 6 o'clock after I talk to everybody again, kind of walk around the unit, make sure everybody's okay. And I start getting ready, write all my labs down, and then do a final review, And then by 7 o'clock, we have the firing squad, depending when I go give report, because I have to give report to the CT surgeons, to my attendings and residents and fellows and everybody else who wants to be in that room. But then, you know what? It is such a great learning experience. So when you have to be in a kind of environment, it puts you on your P's and Q's, because everybody's asking you 20,000 questions. At first, I was like so intimidated. I thought I was going to die. I mean, literally, guys, I thought I was going to die. I'm like, oh my God, this is not worth it. The stress level is too much. I absolutely cannot do this. My coworker will tell you, I have many tantrums all the time. Like, oh my God, I don't know how anybody does this. This is so much. The stress level. But you know what? I looked at it from a different way now. I'm looking at it from a different perspective. You are learning so much. I am learning so much. So the questioning, don't look at it as somebody antagonizing you, but look at it more as like, oh my God, this is such a learning opportunity for me. Yes, they're going to yell at me. Yes, they're going to probably say something rude, but then at the end of the day, I learn, and then from that experience, you can kind of retain some information and kind of learn. Yeah, is this something you could do long term for 20 years? Probably not. But then, you know what, for a couple years, it's doable. It's doable. And if you can manage your stress very well, which is what I do, I take off multiple days. Like right now, I'm off for 8 days. I go back to work on Wednesday, and I was off for 8 days. Then I work for 6 days, then I'm off again for another 6 days. You need to have some kind of relaxation techniques, or you need to make sure you take off and go to vacation, because this job is very stressful, but again, very doable and very rewarding. Okay, I hope I answered your question. That was Gigi, Nurse Practitioner, and please keep the questions coming. And I enjoy doing this, and whatever else I learn new, I'm gonna come back and report it to you guys. And if you have more questions, just put it below, or also, I'm on my website, Gm.Medicalconsultants at Gmail. No, that's my email. www.gm-medicalconsultants.com. It's gm.medicalconsultants.com, and my email is gm-medicalconsultants@gmail.com. So you can find me there. And I'm also on Instagram as GMMC 2011. GMMC, which stands for GM Medical Consultants 2011. And you'll find me on Instagram there as well. All right, guys, you have a good night. It's late at night. I need to go home and get some rest for classes tomorrow. So I'll talk to you guys another time. Bye.